Good evening. Calling to order the zoning subcommittee meeting for Monday, August 23rd, 2022. We'll all rise and salute the flag.
Roll call of the members of the zoning subcommittee. Councilor McKenna.
Here.
Here. Councilor Novoselsky.
Here.
Here. Councilor Sereno.
Here.
Here. Council President Visconti.
Here.
Here. Oh, I'm sorry. And Councilor Powers is absent. And Chairman Keefe.
Jesus.
Here.
Here. Quorum is present. One item on tonight's agenda is an ordinance further amending the zoning ordinances of the City of Revere relative to research and development facilities.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This item has been up for a little bit, and there's been a little bit of back and forth. So I know that clearly you're not all here just to see me today, and there's probably some good interest in the room. But the City Council hasn't had a whole lot of time to discuss, and we do have to do that in this setting here. So I wanted to open it up to the City Council. But I also wanted to mention that if there were residents that haven't had a chance to speak on this before, or haven't sent us anything on the record, you're more than welcome to come up and, voice any concern, or if you have any satisfaction with the project or not, you're welcome to come up. But we're looking to not have the same redundancy of continuing to come up if you've already been up once. Okay? And if that is the case, if there's a lot of people that wish to speak, we'll be limiting it to 2 minutes. So, Council President Zambuto. I'm sorry. It's been a little bit. Council President Visconti. My apologies.
He's probably got at least 20 years on me, but I won't hold you at fault with that. But thank you, Mr. Chairman. This ordinance amendment change was brought forth by Councilor McKenna and myself. So we can be clear, currently the way the ordinance is read is that the city allows for a life science building with a BS level 3. What Councilor McKenna and myself has proposed is a reduction in that BS level to a BS level 2. We would also like to make some additional amendments to the current amendment that we filed. With that being said, we would like to make an amendment change that if any animal testing takes place in the SDOD district, it will prohibit the testing of the following species. That being cats, dogs, rabbits, monkeys, chimpanzees, and other related primates. Also, what we have looked into, and the current developer of of the Suffolk Downs Overlay District has also agreed. Now, keep in mind, they have the ability to put a BS level 3 in there, okay? After further discussions with Tom O'Brien and his team, he has agreed, okay, and we will read the letter into the records, that his intention, and his intentions was always to put no more than a BS level 2, okay, there, and has agreed to the changes regarding the animal testing, okay? Above and beyond that, okay, we also have made the changes citywide that any further life science buildings, okay, outside of the SDOD, okay, will have to be done by special permit, okay, as well as not allowing and prohibiting any animal testing outside of the SDOD district. So significant changes have been made But let's keep in mind that Suffolk Downs had no desire to actually test the animals that are being prohibited anyway. So with that being said, we ask that this zoning subcommittee approve this ordinance change and move forward with that to the city council. Thank you.
Thank you, President Visconti. Councilor McKenna?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did a lot of meetings with certain people, and we came to find out that animals right now are barely being tested because of the fact they're so expensive to get. A rat costs $10,000 because it's raised purely without diseases. So a rat comes in, $10,000, a lab is not going to pay for that. So what we found out is they're using more technology. They're using 3D technology. It's cheaper. And they're coming out with good, good quality outcomes. So that's what we learned this week in a Zoom meeting from someone who's pretty substantial in Cambridge. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McKenna. Any other councilors? Okay. I do see, again, I'm going to acknowledge there's a large presence in the room. And I want to just state again, Councilor Visconti has presented and Councilor McKenna have presented some amendments in front of us. And want to remind everyone, current state is they're allowed to do up to a level 3, and they're allowed to do significant amounts of testing, although they weren't intending on doing that anyway. This amendment is to reduce that animal testing, to remove specific animals, cats, dogs, mice, monkeys, primates, the ones that unfortunately people were suggesting that we were all in favor of, which we weren't. We never have been. But we just want to make sure that everyone understands the truth. And they're agreeing to bring it down to a level 2. Also with this amendment, it's restricting any life science research and development throughout outside of the Suffolk Downs Overlay District to a special permit, meaning they have to come here and it has to be voted on by the council, not by right. So it's not by right. It means the council will have to vote and approve any further research and development facilities throughout the city, okay? Those in different districts around the city that people may be concerned with, which I know that there has been significant amounts of concern based on that. That will be no longer by right, it'll be by a special permit. So again, any time someone wants to come up here and do something like that, it would have to come in front of the city council and go through the entire process. And you would, of course, all of the residents and people and community members would be able to come up and voice their satisfaction or dissatisfaction. I think that this is a great amendment. I think that this checks a lot of the boxes that the residents have voiced some concern over. There's no doubt about that. But I also suggest that, Revere is a growing community. It's an unbelievable gateway to Boston. People are starting to realize its fullest potentials, and people want to do business in the city. There's a lot of commerce to be had. There's plenty of wonderful jobs to be had. I think that there's a reason that we have many members. Looks like there's a strong union brotherhood in this audience tonight that realize the amount of jobs that are at stake in our community. And there's a lot to be said when you can go to high school at Revere High and go in the robotics department, which is one of the most renowned robotics departments, school departments in the state and the country, and be able to take that into a high school and a college education and to come back and work in the city of Revere and make a great income. And those people that are going to make those great incomes, they're going to come work in our city, and they're going to go to the restaurants, and they're going to buy homes, and they're going to continue to make Revere thrive. So I can't understand why that is such a bad thing. I think it's a great thing. Yes, there are going to be some givebacks, absolutely. There's no such thing as a perfect project. But overwhelmingly, I am in favor of this amendment. Overwhelmingly, I'm in favor of protecting the community. And overwhelmingly, I'm in favor of protecting all of you, and of course, the city of Revere. So I think that we found a really good compromise, and I think that I'm very, very happy for that.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, What I would like to do as well is read into the record the changes that are being made, and then have Madam Clerk read the letter from Tom O'Brien from Him Investments. Because let's keep in mind, this is a collaborate effort on both the developer as well as the city of Revere. Okay, this is a developer that is willing to work with the city, and I want to make that noted because he was adamant about that. Okay, so what I would like to do is in the ordinance part, section 1, okay, state that animal testing shall be prohibited in research and development facilities in the following zoning districts in which the use is allowed by special permit. That's PDD1, PDD2, HB, TED, and IP district. Okay, in section 3, animal testing on the following species shall not be permitted in the Suffolk Downs Overlay District. That being cats, dogs, rabbits, monkeys, chimpanzees, and other related primates. And as well as in section 4, that any other life science buildings being thought of would have to come in front of the City Council for a special permit. If Madam Clerk would be so kind to read the letter from Tom O'Brien into the record so it is noted, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Dear City Council President Visconti, I am writing on behalf of the McClellan Highway Development Company, LLC, which is an affiliate of the HYM Investment Group, LLC, and the owner of the Suffolk Downs site regarding proposed Revere zoning amendments respecting research and development facilities. As you know, the Revere portion of the Suffolk Downs site is within the Suffolk Downs Overlay District and is being developed in accordance with a master plan PUD special permit. As we move forward with redevelopment within the SDOD, we are committed to limiting research and development uses within the SDOD to BSL Level 1 and Level 2 lab life science tenant uses, and to limit any on-site animal testing within the SDOD to prohibit testing on the following species: cats, dogs, rabbits, monkeys, chimpanzees, and other related primates. We also encourage the City of Revere to consider creating a municipal biosafety committee that includes Revere city staff, professional advisors, and other community members with relevant expertise, similar to comparable committees that have been created in nearby municipalities such as Cambridge, Boston, Watertown, Waltham, and Lowell. Creating such a committee in Revere could provide an additional level of oversight and enforcement of state and federal permits and regulations associated with biolab uses in the City of Revere. We look forward to continuing our close relationship with the City of Revere and to working together to see redevelopment at Suffolk Downs continue to move forward. Respectfully submitted, Thomas O'Brien.
Yep. And again, I know, I want to reiterate, this is to bring all of this to a more, what everyone feels is more comfortable levels. This is a reduction. We can stand here and do nothing, and all of this goes away, and they can do pretty much anything they really wanted to. Not that they ever wanted to, but I just want to. This is getting ahead of it. So good job. By a show, this is just a lot of people here, and I think if we got everyone up here, it would probably be here till next Tuesday. By a show of hands, just people that are in support of what the City Council is looking to do tonight. By a show of hands. And those who are not? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, let me reiterate one thing, okay? That not doing anything here is keeping this at a BSL Level 3, okay? And that's the alternative. If we do not reduce this to a BS Level 2, it's left at a BS Level 3. So I just want to make that quite clear, because I want to make sure that everybody is aware of what we are as a city council trying to do that we think is in the best interest of the city, as well as the residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. I don't have any further questions on the amendments.
The zoning subcommittee will now take up the amendments as reported by Council President Visconti. On the amendments to the proposed ordinance, Councilor McKenna.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers is absent. Councilor Sereno.
Yes.
Yes. Council President Visconti. Council President, we're in the middle of a roll call.
Get to talk. Before the meeting started. Those were your words.
Did you wish to speak, Mr. Rose?
There's a few people that want to speak.
That we're going to be, that we're in the middle of a roll call, so.
So you're going to cancel out the public again?
No, we had a public hearing on this matter. Okay, continue on, Madam Clerk.
Council President Visconti on the amendments.
Doing us again.
Council President Visconti on the amendments. We're voting on the amendments, the zoning,
What's wrong with letting the people be heard?
on the amendments.
We can vote. You're the chair.
Okay. Hang on. Hey, excuse me. Hold on. If we're going to do that, we're not going to have that. Absolutely not going to have that. Okay, you're not going to be shouting. I'd be happy to have a few people up, absolutely. Can you please not be redundant? If you've already spoken, make it quick and tell us what you'd like to say. On the ordinance and in the ordinance amendment. On the ordinance and the ordinance amendment only. Thank you.
Oh, Sophia, 86 Atwood Street. So I wanted to just ask about Phase 2. Would that still be happening with the second life science building that they have planned in the next phase of this building?
Phase 2 will the Suffolk Downs overlay development is all that, pretty much all of it.
So there will be that second life science building.
So Phase 2
being
could
built.
potentially, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I just want to say that I like the amendment, so I'm in favor of that. But the main issue is this is all after the fact, and none of the residents were surveyed. I did go up and down my own street and talk to a lot of my neighbors. Not one of them had a clue. And that's where I just wanted to speak and be voiced, is that people don't like that, and it rubs them the wrong way, even if this is the best of intentions and it will be, everything the residents want. It's not a good look, and people want to be surveyed. They want to be knowing what's going on in the community, so they have a chance to voice an opinion on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I just answer? Okay, yes, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. My name is Louis Charlone. I live at 410 Park Avenue. I'm the chairman of the planning board here in the city of Revere. This issue came before us recently, and as chairman, my opinion was that the level 3 bio statute, the way it was written in the zoning ordinance, is exactly the way it was when HYM bought the property and came before all our bodies and put their proposal before us. They can do it by right. This well-thought-out amendment, which is a compromise, which is something Tom O'Brien's done with housing and putting jobs in the hands of our residents and surrounding communities, is something that's well thought out by him, and I'm fully in support of this amendment, and the council and the councilors who were responsible for that should be commended, because it's another piece of evidence that Mr. O'Brien wants to work with the community and was giving and is compromising to the point where he didn't have to, as the council president says. But from the planning board's point of view, my position, which was voted on by the planning board, was that HYM could have a level 3. So to restrict it even further with Mr. O'Brien's permission and consent is a well-thought-out amendment, and I'm fully in favor. Thank you.
Mark Singleton, 128 Broad Sound Ave. In support of the whole overlay district, and I think working on the project, being around, a lot of people are getting confused, they weren't informed. The meetings are posted, the agendas are posted. As a matter of right, they could go in. And quite in fact, the amendment restricts what a lot of people are already worried about. And I think if that message is driven a little bit more home, a lot more people will understand it, because as a matter of right, they could have did whatever they wanted, and they are much more restricted now. And it stops this project from going to other neighborhoods that it may, in fact, have been eligible to go to. So again, Mark Singleton, 128 Broad Sound Ave, in support.
Hi there. Laurie Strathopoulos from Salem Saves Animals. So the one thing I want to ask about, well, thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time to try to amend this ordinance so that animals are not tested. That's so important. I also want to say, before I start with anything else, that I have never, Salem Saves Animals have never, and most of the people do not want to take union jobs away. We support the unions. We support people getting housing. What we don't support is, thank you, everybody. And so what we don't support is that in any way that an animal can be tested, because they can use this for many things, this area, in any way. So when you do write the new amendment, are you going to put special language so that they cannot test on animals in any shape, way, or form? That's my only question, and thank you so much. Okay, thank you.
David Gregory, 50 Crest Avenue, Revere. So I live just up the street from where this development is going to happen. I breathe the air, I'll walk past it. I will be exposed to anything that leaks out. I've also spent 20 years working in infectious disease and the life sciences. So I know very well the safety procedures that are required. I have no hesitation at all about having one of these facilities in my community. I'm very familiar with the safety that's required. As long as the council put in some oversight, proper oversight, the procedures are well defined. On the other hand, it has become, the life sciences sector has in the last few decades become one of the biggest industries in Massachusetts. It employs about 100,000 people directly, which I believe is twice the population of Revere, more or less. Revere is currently shut out of this. Towns such as Waltham, Watertown, out to the northwest of Boston have done a very good job in capitalizing on that. People in Revere now looking to get into this sector currently are faced with the choice of essentially moving or spending 3 hours in traffic every day to get to work. And it would be a great benefit to the city if they did not have to face that choice. Thank you.
Wayne Rose, Thorndike Street. I'm just wondering, how many jobs will be lost if this goes from a level 2, from a level 3 to a level 2 without animal testing? We're not against the union, guys. I was in the union. Nobody's against you. These guys want to make it look like we're against you. All we are against is animal testing. We don't want animals tested on. So we're not against no union. We're not against no cutting union jobs. But how many jobs will be lost if this goes with no animal testing? Thank you.
Writing this. I'm writing the specific questions down that we can try to answer. We're not going to have answers for all of them, though, but good.
Okay. Stacy from 411 Reservoir Avenue. I have one question and one question only. Why isn't this on a ballot for us to let the Revere citizens decide instead of a council decide? That's my question. Okay? Thank you.
Anyone else?
Lisa Cutting. I'm your city pound for the city of Revere. I have been for the last 17 years. So I do have some concerns. I am beyond grateful that they are changing, especially with the animals. My concern is the animals they do test on, and they are deceased. What is the protocol for that? Are they just going to throw them in dumpsters, or what's going to be? Because I live near this area. So I'm a little concerned about this biolab myself. I have children here, I pay my taxes, and I've worked with this city a long time. And I will say it's tough because the budgets have been cut for a lot of animals and the welfare of strays and everywhere for them to go. My concern is, how are they going to make it as safe as possible?
So we're keeping questions.
Thank you.
The termination of animals, understood.
Hi, Kim Silva, Endicott Ave. I just want to echo what Wayne said.
What was the address?
43 Endicott Ave. I want to echo what Wayne says. We're not against anybody having jobs. That's not what this is about. And when you took the vote on this amendment, that's the wrong, apples and oranges. We're not saying no jobs. When you took the vote, who's in favor of it? Of course, everybody that works wants the job. We want it too for them. But it's about the animals. And I just don't understand how you're not getting that. And you brought 100 people in. We are all for the jobs.
I just want to make it clear, I didn't bring anyone in. No one brought anyone in.
Somebody brought them in.
Well, I can tell you that
Somebody brought them in.
I can tell you the city council didn't.
The city council, somebody did.
I would be careful about your accusations, please. I don't think so.
They are.
Continue on.
And we are all in favor of them keeping their jobs. This isn't what this is about.
Brad Booth, current resident of 190 Campbell Ave, Revere. This project's going literally a football field away from where I live with my kids. We do this stuff all the time. We're in Boston, we're doing all these types of labs. They take special attention to what's happening with that special hazardous waste and where they remove it. There's huge tanks. This is something we do all the time. To limit Revere on revenue and income, it doesn't make sense to me, but you guys, you're up to what you're gonna do. If we don't step on it and get this revenue coming into Revere, it's gonna go somewhere else. And that's the bottom line. Thank you.
How you doing, Mike Semino, 9 Elwood Place, Revere. I'm a resident and I'm business agent for Labor's Local 22. I'm a resident in Revere and business agent for Labor's Local 22. I'm an animal lover and I support this amendment. We have 3,000 laborers in the local, and I'm speaking on behalf of my laborers. About 1,000 laborers live in this city and they support this amendment, so we're for it.
Good evening, Hector Rivera, 69 Broad Street, Revere. I just want to say that on behalf of all the carpenters, we support this amendment. It will create a lot of work for the families in the community, and thank you for everything.
Good evening, City Council and residents. My name is Michael Burns. I'm a council representative for the Sheet Metal Workers, Local 17, the Greater Boston, New England area. On behalf of my membership and the interest and respect for your time, I'm going to speak for the dozens of members that I have here. We support the life science. We think it's a catalyst for jobs in this region. Great opportunities for young people, and not only the construction, but future jobs in operations of these buildings. We are in the HVAC industry. We've done a lot of work in labs, and I will tell you this. You will have the most well-trained, safest workforce working on these projects. So I think it's a great compromise that you folks have done. And on behalf of my members, Local 17, we are in favor of the amendment.
Okay. Oh.
Attorney Michelle Kelly, Derby Road, Revere. I want to applaud you for doing the amendment. I think it's a step in the right direction. I think the amendment is a step in the right direction, but I don't know if you guys are aware of the fact of how easily a level 2 can be upgraded to a level 2+ with very little being done about that, which is in effect basically a level 3. So without any language prohibiting that and making sure it can't go to a level 2+, that's something that I have an issue with. Also, I want to make it clear, again, we're all for the union jobs, don't want to take jobs away from anybody. I find it interesting that City Manager Tom Ambrosino, with the proposal for Floramos going into a biolab, he specifically capped it at a level 2 with no animal testing. Plenty of jobs are going to go in there building that lab. And the way that they did their statute and their ordinance was level 2 cap, no animal testing. I'm wondering why that wasn't done here. And then everyone would still have their jobs, and there'd be no animal testing, and there'd be no issue. The next thing is, in terms of the mice and $10,000 and all that, we all saw that 4,000 beagles were just rescued. These are breeders that are breeding these dogs and these animals specifically for experimentation purposes. If there were no market for them, if people weren't buying them because they were too expensive, the breeders wouldn't be breeding 4,000 dogs at a time. So that doesn't make sense to me. And my last question, I actually have two. One question I have is, when the special permit was granted for this project, I'd like to know if specifically it contained a provision regarding animal testing. Does anyone know?
We're going to answer as many questions as we can at the end.
Does anyone know right now?
Specifically, I don't believe so.
Specifically.
But I'm going to answer we're going to answer as many questions at the end.
Okay, that is a
And
question
just-
I'd like answered tonight, okay, whether it's here or in city council chambers later this evening. I want an answer to whether or not, I know it's like 50 pages long, and I want to know if there was a specific provision
We'll
in that special
we'll try to answer
permit.
your question, but I'm not sure you're going to get every question
Okay,
answered.
and the last question, I don't know if anyone would answer too, but in 2018, a lot of you, not all of you, were here when this 2017 and 2018, when these ordinance changes went into effect allowing all of this. I'd like to know, again, if not now, maybe in the city council meeting, knowing what you know now, because it seems like there was a lack of information when this thing was voted on, would you still vote the same now, knowing everything you know now? The pathogens that can be handled, the animal testing that can be handled, and all the risks that are involved. Now that you have all that information, would you vote the same? And I would like an answer from every councilor on that tonight that at least voted on it in 2017 and 2018.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, is that everybody? Just, I wrote down as many questions. Is this the last one? Or you want to?
I just have,
We'd like to just answer them all and just,
Okay. Ann Beth Chinchillo,
And I just-
Goldie Street,
yeah.
Revere, Massachusetts. Okay, so the reason I had a very long discussion yesterday with Tom Ambrosino, and I asked him, what did you do to prohibit animal testing in your city and get your lab down to a level 2? And he told me it was because our ordinances didn't allow that. And I said, well, how come? How did you get that? And he said, we just didn't put it in the permit. And I said, that's wonderful. I said, this is what we wanted. How did you do this? He said, I don't know. It just has to be written that way. So I don't know how we can go forward and avoid this again. I know that there are a lot of people that want to come in here. And the other thing is the Animal Welfare Act does not protect all animals, some. And there's no oversight. They can do whatever they want. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to, thank you. I want to say a few things, and I know that a few other councils may have the specific answers, and then some we just quite frankly, might not have. First off, no one said that any of you were against the unions. Nobody. Nobody, not one time, okay? There was obviously, we did recognize that this project and many projects in our city are very, very much in favor by the union employees. So we never said that. That never was said. Nobody said it. As far as what other cities have done, so yes, some of it is a little bit reactive, where we're looking at the future of life science in our city, and there will be approvals by special permit outside of the Suffolk Downs overlay district, because quite frankly, we can't eliminate what they want to do because they've already gotten their approvals. They've already started their site. So we couldn't stop them. So yes, in hindsight, we have to look at what we can do moving forward. Council Visconti, Council McKenna put up some nice amendments to this ordinance that will help, if we so choose to, restrict down the road and continue to further restrict. With special permits, when those special permits come in front of us, we could suggest there is zero animal testing. There are certain levels we'll allow and we won't allow. Absolutely, okay? I think that answers a few. I know there were some questions about beagles and whatnot. We have already, if you were here a little earlier, I hope you heard that we are restricting certain animals, including dogs and cats, rabbits and primates. So ultimately, the majority, if there are any animal testing, will be on rodents, okay? on the Suffolk Downs overlay district. As far as termination of animals, there are strict protocols in place. They are not just to be thrown out in the trash. There are strict protocols in place. I can't pull up the 50 pages of how it's done, but I can assure you that, and if it will help, we'll be able to try and publish that. But there are strict protocols on how the animals can be terminated and how they are disposed, and also how they are brought onto the site and guarded. One last question that I wrote down was quick communication. There was a great comment. I agree. There's never enough communication. There never can be enough. Somehow, somewhere, someone always misses it. It just happens. It's put in the public paper. It's distributed on different levels of social media and whatnot. But you're right. We can't go door to door and knock on everyone's single door and tell them about every project that's going to happen. That's just not reasonable, and it's not going to happen. We can only try to advertise our agenda and hope that people stay informed. And I know there are a lot of people in this room that are very well informed, and we appreciate that. What I would appreciate is when they are that informed and they do have a captive audience to share this information, they share it with honesty and integrity so that it's not lies and it's not misinformation, because that's what happens. And then people go buck wild and think that we're going to be torturing monkeys. It's not happening. It never was happening. And that's the one thing that upsets us. I get it. People are passionate. I appreciate your passion. Okay? We're not trying to stop that. So I think I answered most of those questions. I don't know if Councilor Visconti. It's not required to be on a ballot. We can't, so that's, I think, a good question. I wrote that down. It's not required to be on a ballot. I know that there's something coming up later on that had requested something like that, but every project that goes on the city is not a ballot initiative. It's not required. It's not required to be a ballot. You asked a question, the answer is it's not required to be on a ballot. You asked a question, it's not required to be on a ballot. There's probably one or two ballot initiatives that happen throughout the year. If you're that excited about having a ballot initiative, all I would recommend is go gather the amount of signatures that you need to put something on the ballot. You can put anything. You could request that every street light. No, but if a resident wants a ballot initiative or a ballot question, go get the signatures, whatever it may be. It could be to change anything. I'm talking here. Go get the signatures and then put it on the ballot. You can do that. You can do it. We're not talking about ballot initiatives here. I'm answering a question. It's not required to be on a ballot, but if you want something on a ballot, go get the signatures.
Mr. Chairman.
Go do it. If you're that passionate about it, go do it. Other than that, that's all I have. Councilor Serino.
Just to answer or clarify the question about the ballot, because I know I got a couple of calls about why, when a casino was proposed at Suffolk Downs, why it was on the ballot. The casino was on the ballot because state law that we passed relative to expanded gaming required that a community that hosts a casino have a specific referendum question to ratify a host community agreement. That's the only reason that Revere had a ballot initiative for the casino. So this particular project doesn't require it. We also had a ballot initiative about turning the trailer park, Lee's Trailer Park, into slot parlors. That was a ballot initiative that was done by the people. They collected signatures, and there is a process to that. But it is not required by the city. So just a clarification.
I think that's all. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll with the amendments? Thank you. Amendment.
The amendments as proposed by Councilor Visconti are as follows. Section 1 shall be amended by including the language, animal testing shall be prohibited in research and development facilities in the following zoning districts in which the use is allowed by special permit: PDD 1, PDD 2, HB, TED, and IP. The second amendment is as follows to Section 3. Animal testing on the following, and this is as it relates to the SDOD district. Animal testing on the following species shall not be permitted in the Suffolk Downs Overlay District: cats, dogs, rabbits, monkeys, chimpanzees, and other related primates. And Section 4 was amended by inserting the new zoning table, which changed the zoning for research and lab uses in the PDD 1, PDD 2, HB, TED, and IP to special permit only. On the amendments, Councilor McKenna.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Serino.
Yes.
Yes. Council President Visconti.
Yes.
Yes, and Chairman Keefe?
Yes.
Yes, the amendments have been approved. Shall the City Council offer a favorable recommendation to the full City Council on an ordinance further amending the zoning ordinances of the City of Revere relative to research and development facilities as amended? Councilor McKenna?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Sereno?
Yes.
Yes. Council President Visconti?
Yes.
Yes, and Chairman Keefe?
Yes.
Yes, the ordinance will receive a favorable recommendation as amended.
Thank you. And that does conclude our zoning subcommittee, but I wanted to answer one more question I wrote down. As far as would have, should have, from knowing information from 5 years ago, there's a common phrase, hindsight is 20/20. Absolutely. If we knew what we knew 10 years ago, I would have bought in every house on my street. We know that you continue to learn and you continue to grow, and that's all we can deal with is the present. And simple as that. Okay? I hope that you can appreciate that honesty. Thank you. Motion to adjourn.